is 10.
Oxygen supply depleted.
What? Hold on!
Hi, I'm Nicole Stott.
Nicole Stott is a retired astronaut.
And here's me in space. Today I'm going to look at how astronauts are portrayed in Hollywood. Blackout period in Apollo 13.
Flight, we have loss of radio contact.
Roger that.
Expect to regain signal in 3 minutes.
This blackout period does happen. It's not unique to Apollo 13.
No re-entering ship has ever taken longer than 3 minutes to emerge from blackout.
Still today, when we have Soyuz landings, the Soyuz capsule coming back in, it's a predicted time. It's understood where it should happen.
Okay, flight, that's 3 minutes. We are standing by for acquisition.
They'll let you know, hey, we will lose comm with the crew for 30 seconds or a minute or whatever it might be.
Odyssey, this is Houston. Do you read?
And then you'll always get the ground calling a little bit early ahead to, see if they've regained communications or not.
Odyssey, Houston. Do you read?
For some reason, even when you know that's going to happen, there's this you're kind of at the edge of your seat. Okay, we're going to hear back from him. We're going to hear back from him.
Odyssey, this is Houston. Do you read me?
But it's just the physics of coming back into the atmosphere. You've got this really hot plasma coming around the ship that ionizes the atmosphere and causes this disruption of, the ability to communicate. And then it stops and you can talk again.
Hello, Houston. This is Odyssey. It's good to see you again.
Wormhole travel, contact.
Oh, God! I'm gonna try and keep recording.
When I look at this scene, I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to be, it's going to be in the future a little bit, but I think he would still have a spacesuit and a helmet on. And maybe not just be in this little seat. I don't know. It seems like there should be some more substance to what she's sitting in there. When we launch to space and when we land, we wear, they're actually called ascent entry spacesuits. If you watched a space shuttle launch or landing, you'd always see the crew in these orange suits. The purpose of the suit was to help you survive if all the air in your spaceship went away, or if you got into kind of a critical emergency situation. And so you'd have the suit on, it could pressurize up to keep your, your blood flowing right. You had the helmet on so that you could breathe air. And I think that's going to go on for a long time. The new spaceships we're building, we're incorporating spacesuits into the launch and landing of those, because those are two of the most critical stages of the flight.
Life support, how's she doing?
Still have data. Heart and respiration are high, but within limits, she's okay.
Ellie, you copy.
You can hear? I am okay to go.
The control room scene and the way they're communicating with her in preparation for launch and kind of the stages that they go through all sounds, very familiar, kind of what you would expect through a launch sequence.
Control, do you read me?
When you can't hear ground control, the crew will still continue to speak in hopes that maybe you're just, not hearing their response to you, but they can hear you.
I'm gonna try and keep recording.
So a lot of times we'll use the words like in the blind. I'm just going to keep talking to you and hope that you hear me, and so that you can stay, up to speed as much about what's going on with me, and then hopefully at some point I'll hear you again. AI on spaceships and 2001 Space Odyssey.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Right now, I think the current status of artificial intelligence or AI on our space missions is that we're not really saying we have AI in place. I think that will come. There's some things that we're testing. What we do have is automated control of things.
Open the pod bay doors.
And that's a great thing, because then the crew isn't having to interact all the time to maintain the systems or ensure that everything is good. That can happen automatically. Even when we're flying the spacecraft, there's automation associated with that, a lot of it. But in every case, I believe we're still in the situation where we can manually take over if we need to, either as the crew members on board or from the ground through the control systems that they have.
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
Our hope is that the AI, whichever ones we do employ at some point, are not setup that they could take control.
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
Asteroid belt in Armageddon.
Everybody hang on. This could get a little rough. Engaging invasive radar.
Yeah, this is one of those scenes that I think shows there is a lot that's far-fetched in Armageddon.
Houston, we overshot our landing field.
Land might not be the right word to use with asteroid. I think it's more like you're docking with it. You're intercepting it and then keeping pace and attaching somehow. Just because of the physics of an asteroid and the way it moves through space. And we're looking at how you do that. Right now we have missions that have gone to asteroids and, small spacecraft that have gone there and done that and taken pictures and landed on it, I suppose. There's a lot of work going on right now into how we track asteroids, how we identify them, and then maybe even more importantly, once we know they're there, what do we do about them if they're, like in the scenario in this film, if they're actually coming towards Earth and could be a real threat to us. And they're looking at missions that could, resolve that for us. I think one thing as a crew member that bothers me when I watch scenes like this is absolutely a time when you would have your helmet on.
Negative! Mayday, Houston, mayday, we've lost our CS.
Some of the terminology that's used, like mayday, mayday. I get what they're doing. It's like, hey, they're going to go down, but mayday, mayday implies that somebody could get there to rescue you, and that is not likely at all in this kind of scenario.
Oh my God, this is it.
I mean, I was excited by watching this movie, though, too. So on the 2 missions that I flew in space and the ones that we have done, even going to the moon, we're not flying through asteroid belts. We have not, as human beings, done that yet. When I think about an asteroid or a meteor, perhaps is more appropriate for the kind of mission I've had, is I'm thinking about these single small pieces of debris that might have the potential of hitting my spacecraft versus ever considering the idea that I'm going to have to fly through this massive, belt of huge and small pieces of debris. G-force training in Space Cowboys.
This thing moving?
This is such great.
It sure will take the wrinkles out.
I love that scene. So we have the opportunity as shuttle crew members to go experience the centrifuge. So this machine that kind of spins you around and simulates not just the G-forces that you'll feel, you experience them like you would as you were launching. So it takes you through the same trajectory that you would experience launching on the space shuttle.
This is not a toy!
And they mention it in the film. It's 3 Gs is what it's limited to.
It was 3 Gs!
And you're on your back and it's coming through your chest.
I'm so pleased.
I love the interaction between these guys that have been friends and like frenemies even, throughout the years.
First one to pass out buys a beer tonight.
They go right back to kind of this competitive, yet like friendly competition in here. Even in the end when they're like waking back up and it's not, oh my gosh, what happened? It's, hey, who passed out first?
Gene.
What?
Which one of us passed out first?
There's just something very human and nice about that to me.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Video messages in Interstellar.
You once told me that when you came back we might be the same age. And today I'm the age you were when you left.
From the station, we're able to talk basically on a phone every day. So I would have a pretty normal conversation with my son after school every day, and once a week we would do a video conference. And now it's amazing. The family members can take an iPad with them and they can go to their kid's game and show, the crew member on board, hey, there's Joey kicking the, the home run or whatever it is. And it's really interesting to see just in that short period of time the way we've improved the communications.
Look at this. Your grandpa.
Even in a delayed time frame, to be able to have that connection, home to our family or our friends, or even just to see, views of the planet will be really, really important. Orbital mechanics and the Martian.
Intercept velocity will be 11 meters per second.
I can make that work.
distance at intercept will be 68 kilometers apart.
They mentioned something about not having enough velocity, this difference in velocity. And that's really important because you have to kind of match up the velocities in order to be able to intercept something in space.
I could use the escaping air as a thruster and fly towards you.
So Watney is saying, hey, why don't I make that up by giving myself a little bit more thrust by making my suit into essentially a rocket engine.
I'd get to fly around like Iron Man.
That's why he jokes around about it being like Iron Man too, because you use his glove and then fly little thrusters out of his hands. And I like that they did this. From a control standpoint, it might be a lot more difficult than what they show, all they, eventually show him kind of flopping around while he does it. But it's looking for a solution. It's like taking advantage of what the resources you have to try to overcome the problem that you're dealing with.
Come on, guys, keep it together, work the problem.
As long, I think, as that air is flowing by his hand, it's technically not exposed to the vacuum of space, just like the rest of his body isn't.
3.1 meters per second.
He's still protected as long as there's that airflow. Oxygen in the spacesuit, red planet.
Gallagher, oxygen supply depleted.
I think the normal supply in a suit that we go out on a spacewalk with has between 6 and 8 hours worth of oxygen. And how long that lasts will depend on how fast you're breathing, how hard you're working, but usually 6 to 8 hours. And then that's the normal, primary tanks. In case you did get a leak or something went wrong, we have some secondary tanks that are really intended for you to use them to get back into the station or to get to a safe place where you could either resupply or just, get back in. Those, I think, last for half an hour.
Replace your O2 canister immediately.
The ground can monitor the systems in our suit. They've got telemetry to be able to tell us how much oxygen we have left. We've got little sensors on the suit itself and a little display panel right here that you can look down at. That if you push the buttons right, it can tell you here's how much oxygen you have remaining, the pressure, and the estimated time.
Pettingill, replace your O2 canister immediately.
And then when it gets to a certain level, an audible alarm will go off in your helmet and let you know, hey, you're at this point. And then you would talk to the ground or your crewmates inside to decide what you do about it. On Mars, we're not going to be able to just go out without a suit on.
Is it gonna hurt? Yeah.
The atmosphere is not one that we can just breathe without any kind of protection or air supply. That's why in this movie it's kind of surprising that they, at the next stage where they open up their helmet and are breathing normally, that they didn't know that.
I could breathe.
I think they would have known that that was breathable air. Yeah, we go to Mars, we're going to have to be in spacesuits all the time outside. Wooden rocket, Wallace and Gromit. You could definitely build a wooden rocket. I don't think there's anything stopping us from doing that, but just because of how much energy you have to put behind it. The spaceship would be at risk of catching fire anytime you ignited a thruster. I think structurally the wood just wouldn't hold together as you're going through all these different loads and accelerations that you would see going to space. Wallace and Gromit, they build, kind of that iconic looking rocket shape. And we actually, when we first started building rockets, we built them with that shape. If you look at the new spaceship that Elon Musk is proposing for going to Mars, it has that very iconic smooth and then the fins at the end. It's an efficient way to move through the atmosphere and space, just the shape of that rocket. But we've found over time that there's other ways to get that same kind of efficiency, so you don't have to build it that way. Hidden Figures launch.
Let's get a little bumpy along here.
Roger that.
You are in Max Q.
Yeah, Max Q is something that all of our spacecraft go through. It's where you reach this like maximum pressure on the outside of the spacecraft.
The trajectory is still A-OK.
If you stay at that pressure for, a period of time, it has the potential to tear the spaceship apart. So on the space shuttle, you'll hear something, okay, max Q, and then we would throttle back to relieve the load on the spaceship.
0G and I feel fine.
John Glenn reports everything looks good.
Lunar rover in moon. In this scene, I look at the rover and it looks totally believable. If you see the rovers that NASA is developing right now for our return to the moon and potentially even for use on Mars, they have kind of this bigger, bulkier look than the little, almost go-kart looking, vehicles we had in the Apollo missions. And they're meant to be vehicles that you could actually travel in and live in for some period of time without having to have your helmet on and using your space suit, and that you could go out from them and do excursions, on the surface. Launch Space Cowboys.
Let's have a comm check.
PLT.
MS1.
MS2.
I think the whole scene here where they're walking down the walkway, the crew access arm is what we called it, was kind of this walkway that got you into the hatch and onto the shuttle, all looked really good to me. The scenes in Mission Control and Launch Control Center looked really good.
3, 2, 1, ignition.
The way they were speaking through the countdown was great. This whole scene for launch is really pretty accurate.
You're going in too steep, Frank.
In the movie, it bothered me a little bit that on re-entry, they had the pilot flying versus the commander flying in the left seat. In reality, on landing, it would be the commander in the left seat that would be doing all of the flying for the landing and not the pilot in the right seat. A robot in space, Wall-E. Wall-E's here, like clinging onto the side of the spaceship as it launches. I think the point is that Wall-E's a machine too. So if this metal machine, even though we want to love it, is, can clasp onto this side of the vehicle and is made of materials that will tolerate that environment, then I think that's probably not an unbelievable thing. If they'd ever be, the satellites that you see, the spaceship going through will ever be bunched up like that. But there's a lot of them circling our Earth right now. There's some in low Earth orbit, and there's, what is it, like the geosynchronous is like, 24,000 miles above the planet. And, when we talk about going further and further off the Earth to get to places, we certainly have to consider that. Right now, we do that by knowing exactly, where they are in space, and then our trajectory that takes us out further somehow misses them. I don't know. It's a mystery to me. Landing a ship, Prometheus.
All personnel, this is the captain. Brace for entry.
Yes, Captain.
Engage landing sequence. Switch to manual.
Commence landing.
From the space station, when we undocked with the space shuttle, and then we're going to re-enter and land. From the time we fired those retro thrusters, or the thrusters that would allow us to slow down and enter back into the atmosphere, it was an hour from firing them to touching down on the runway. But I like this scene.
Great.
I think they go through some of the same sequences we would if we were landing.
All systems online.
Everybody gets in their seats. It's a little bit more in advance than what they're showing here. But this is a futuristic movie, too. It seems to me they're doing these kinds of landings and re-entries pretty regularly.
Bringing it down in 5.
Preparing to fire RCS.
4.
I love that they use terms that we do, like, okay, firing the RCS, which is the reaction control system, which is the thrusters that would allow you to either slow down or speed up or move forward, backwards, to fly the spacecraft. And then they physically show the you know, the thrusters moving down into a position that would fire against the Earth to, you know, to slow them down and then let them settle onto that planet. It's very future, it's very sci-fi, but they're incorporating some things that we use all the time. I really, in this film, like the line...
Right there. God does not build in straight lines.
God doesn't build in straight lines, because that's something as a crew you would notice. Nature is much more random, and yeah, that was really interesting to me that they would incorporate something like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be any good if I couldn't do that.
Gold spacesuits in sunshine. Our spacesuits are not made out of, you know, all gold material, but we do use the gold visors when we're going to be in the sun to protect our eyes from that solar radiation. So when you're in space and in, you know, in microgravity floating where nothing really weighs anything, it doesn't matter how much the spacesuit weighs.
Affirmative, good image.
You're still going to be able to move around in it easily. So we're not so worried about that. We're more worried about the materials and how it's going to protect you in that environment. I don't know that we're ever going to send people to the sun, but if we did, they might need gold spacesuits. Muppets, Pigs in Space.
This is First Mate Piggy. I am finished cleaning the windows of the command capsule. Over.
Did you get all the little meteorite splatters?
Yes, it's spotless. I can see you two idiots perfectly through it.
Oh.
Over.
Cleaning the space station happens all the time. I think we are just kind of perpetually doing it. You really get into the mode of just clean up after yourself as you go. And then on the weekends, we would have like a whole list of housekeeping tasks that we do. You know, the vacuum cleaner was a lot of fun. You can kind of fly around on the vacuum cleaner.
It's time for you to take out the space garbage.
Oh, don't worry, my little feminaut. You don't have to take out the trash because I jettisoned it out the hatch yesterday.
The way we deal with trash on the space station is that we have these cargo vehicles that have come up loaded with new supplies for us. And when we unload those, we put all of our trash that we've collected into them. Most of those ships burn up in the atmosphere.
What?
I mean, it's really a very clean, effective way to get rid of your trash.
Why do I have to do this job anyway?
Conclusion.
I hope you've enjoyed this kind of comparison between what goes on in the movies and what happens in real life as much as I have. I am so thankful for the science fiction that we are presented with. I think it gives us an opportunity to think about what our future could be like. Already, we've seen so much sci-fi that's turned into sci-fact that I am really hopeful for what we'll see in the future, and I hope that we can continue to compare over time what we're doing in real life and how we're imagining it in the sci-fi movies.